recording this. All right, so welcome. My name is Beth Gallick, and I'm the Executive Director of the Bay Area Manufacturers Association. If you have not met me yet, I hope we meet very soon. Today's topic is Industry 4.0 Smart Manufacturing, and BAMA is your host for today's webinar. We are the Bay Area Manufacturers Association, and we are proud to be part of the FloridaMakes network. As part of the Manufacturing Extension Partnership for the state of Florida, we have many services available to our members. Just as a reminder, we have opportunities for grant assistance. We have no charge assessments, including a business continuity assessment and an enterprise assessment. So let me move the presentation. Can everyone see that? Dave, are you able to see the presentation?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. So this is the FloridaMakes network. We are part of the Regional Manufacturing Associations of Florida. And like I said, we offer many different services as part of your BAMA membership. If you have not taken advantage of these assessments yet, please be sure to do so, and you can contact our business advisor, Paula DeLuca, or myself, and we can get something set up for you. In addition, FloridaMakes, in partnership with the Associated Industries of Florida and Space Coast Florida, have built a supply chain database tool for the manufacturing industry in the state of Florida. The tool contains in-depth information on a broad range of Florida manufacturers, along with detailed search functions to highlight specific production capabilities, certifications, equipment, materials, types, and a lot more. So the purpose of this tool is to help Florida manufacturers better connect with each other, to be discovered, and to increase business opportunities. So again, if you have not created your profile in the Florida supply chain database, I do urge you to do so. It's a way for you to find suppliers and a way for your customers to find you, and there's no cost. So it's a kind of a no-brainer for you to be involved in the Florida Connex Florida. Again, if you have any questions on how to do this, please let me know, and I can send you the link so that you can create your profile right on there. So it's very easy to do. And of course, we don't like to think about it, but disaster readiness. Are you ready for a disaster? I don't know. I think we're all getting ready. And over the last year, we have had a lot of experience getting prepared for whatever might come next. We don't like to think about it, but it is hurricane season. So we have a very quick 5-minute assessment. Easy to take. The link is right below, or I can also send you the link following the webinar. In 5 minutes, you can assess how well your company is set up to handle that hurricane that might be coming our way, or another disaster that might affect your business. So it's quick and easy. I do urge you also to take the assessment. So we want to talk about some fun things. We've talked about disasters. We don't want to do that anymore. We want to talk about what's positive here with BAMA. We offer a lot of benefits with our BAMA membership, and I hope that you're taking advantage of everything that we have to offer. But we offer workforce development, business networking, legislative representation. We're giving your company brand exposure. Again, we offer grant assistance and the FloridaMakes services. So we do hope that your membership with BAMA is a positive one. And as we have been telling you all year, this is our 60th anniversary celebration. BAMA has been in the Tampa Bay area for the past 60 years. We do have a 60 for 60 opportunity for all businesses. For $60, your company logo will be added to our BAMA webpage with your website link, and you'll be considered one of BAMA's 60 for 60. And guess what? We only have one spot left. So if you have not taken advantage of this, go right to the BAMA homepage and sign up to be our final 60 for 60 companies. So we're very excited to be very close to our goal, and we'll have additional celebrations with these companies for the rest of the year. So it is your last opportunity to get involved in this. So we'd love to see your company join us for our 60 for 60. And then we have some upcoming events I wanted to tell you about. Next week, we have Dale Carnegie training, Managing Conflict in Manufacturing. That's taking place as a virtual webinar. We also have a Lunch and Learn, Employee Retention Strategies for 2021. A lot of our manufacturers, of course, are having the same trouble as a lot of businesses in getting that skilled workforce. But once you get them, we want to make sure you keep them. So please join us for our Lunch and Learn on August 24th. For something a little fun, we have a social at 610 Brewing, and that's just a social. If you're available that day, just stop by. There's no registration involved. It's just a nice networking opportunity if you have the chance to stop by 610 Brewing on August 25th. Another fun opportunity is our USF Bulls versus Florida Gators game. We're doing some tailgating before the game. This week is the last opportunity to get your tickets for that game. They are going pretty fast, so I think we only have a few left for that one as well. And then we do have Manufacturing Month coming up in October. We are starting to plan now. So one of our big initiatives is to let students know about the wonderful careers that are available in manufacturing. So one of the ways we can do that is offering students to tour our manufacturing facilities so they can see firsthand all the exciting things that are going on in manufacturing. We do offer either an in-person tour that you can hold at your facility, or you can do a virtual tour again this year. But please do sign up on the BAMA website and let us know which one you're interested in, and then we can start planning. And then coming up in November is our annual Kelly Murphy Memorial Golf Fundraiser. And this does fund our STEM scholarships, our robotics teams, and our students that we assist throughout the year. So we hope that you'll be involved in our golf tournament again this year. It's always a very popular event. But moving forward now, I don't want to take up any more time for our speaker today. He is a business advisor with FloridaMakes, and he's focused on Industry 4.0. His career has spent in or supporting a variety of manufacturing companies in aerospace, defense, automotive, aviation, chemicals. The list goes on and on. He is an operations and technology consultant. He has a BS in accounting, an MBA in strategic management, and is a Six Sigma Black Belt. He's also the author of I Solve Mysteries, The Art of Science of Business Process Optimization and Transformation, published in 2019. Please welcome Mr. Dave Dragon.
Thanks, Beth, for the kind introduction, and thank you for having me speak today on Industry 4.0. So I think I'm going to share my screen. Okay, something. There we go. All right, so today we're going to be talking about Industry 4.0. A lot of people have heard about it. Some people have no idea what it is. And what I'm going to try to do today is kind of give you an insider's view as to what Industry 4.0 is, the benefits of it. And at the end of my presentation, hopefully you'll be a little bit wiser as it relates to Industry 4.0. So I had an introduction I was going to do, but we can kind of go over that because Beth did a great job with me. I'll talk about Industry 4.0. I'll talk about how to engage FloridaMakes with Industry 4.0 initiatives, and then we'll take some questions from the audience. So you already heard about me, so we'll just keep going here. We don't have to spend any more time on me. So one of the questions that comes up is, where does Industry 4.0 come from? And it actually started in Germany back in 2011 with a government program to look at computerizing manufacturing. So that's the origins of Industry 4.0, the terminology. So obviously it's been around for over a decade now. And a lot of companies have made a lot of progress in Industry 4.0 over the last 10 years. So we are in the evolution into the fourth industrial revolution, and Industry 4.0 is part of that. So as you can see, time marches on from the 1700s to the 1800s, the 1900s, and where we are today. And as we know in our personal lives, as well as our business lives, the internet changed everything in 2000. So that was really kind of the inflection point for a lot of these advanced technologies. So one of the things I like to make people aware of is, a lot of these technologies have been around for many years. So these are evolutionary technologies, not revolutionary technologies. So a lot of them are tested over time already, in over a decade, in many cases 2 decades. So there shouldn't be any concern about adopting any of these technologies the way they evolve today. One of the big things that happened about 5 to 7 years ago is there was this change in the architecture in technology. It's called in-memory computing. So if you think about your laptop or your PC, used to have a hard drive in there, and now you have a chip. And if you think about that at an enterprise level, now you've got this in-memory system where you have all the hardware, the software, the data, all in one place. And that's where all this speed comes from. So this is where you hear, cloud computing all of a sudden over the last 5 to 7 years. And over the last couple of years, artificial intelligence. The inflection point for bringing those to market at a much higher level has to do with this in-memory computing. So that's the last real technical discussion we'll have about technology here. So I attend a number of meetings at the federal level with NIST and a lot of industry presentations. And here are the 6 areas why companies are adopting Industry 4.0. Chronic labor shortage, attracting the next generation of employee, operational efficiencies, increased competitiveness, foster innovation, and advancement in connectivity and communication. So we all know that the labor shortage is here, and from every projection, it's not going away. So how are you going to address this when you're trying to attract the next generation of employee? So there are consequences if you don't do anything. As I said, the labor shortage is not going to go away. It's in every industry. Manufacturing is, the tip of the iceberg in many cases. The next generation of employee is different. They're educated and they were brought up with technology in their hand. So for people to attract the next generation of employee and retain them, there's a certain amount of technology this generation is used to working in. And now if you've got chronic labor shortage and you don't have the next generation of employee, you're going to be suffering from an operational efficiency standpoint. Your efficiencies will go down, your competitiveness will go down. So here's one of the interesting things that we've saw in the marketplace in Florida and around the country. Typically, when you look for your competitors, there are people that sell products similar to you. In today's market, your competitor is the company down the road that has implemented these advanced technologies, and they are attracting the next generation of employee. They are taking employees from your company if you haven't implemented these technologies. So your competitor in this case is not somebody who sells a product similar to you. It's actually the manufacturing company down the street that has implemented these technologies. So just these are the things that we're hearing and seeing in the market pretty regularly. So what exactly is Industry 4.0? There are 9 elements of Industry 4.0. I won't read them all because we're going to go over them in detail, but these are the 9 elements. So if somebody says to you, I don't know what Industry 4.0 is, now you have the answer. These are the 9 elements of Industry 4.0. All right, cybersecurity. We all know we live in a very, very dangerous world, and cybersecurity at a corporate level and a personal level is very critical. Manufacturing is one of the top places where cyber thieves like to reside. So whether you're a big company, mid-sized company, or small company, you're not immune to cyber issues. One of the things that we're hearing in the marketplace now is that larger companies in your supply chain, if you're a smaller company, are now in their contracts saying, okay, you supplier, what is your cybersecurity plan? What are your protocols? And do you have cybersecurity protocols in place in your organization? This is going to be part of your contracts. The other thing is they're going to be asking, do you have cybersecurity insurance? So there are a number of cases now where we've heard larger companies going into their supply chain and say, you got to have a cybersecurity plan and you need to have cybersecurity insurance. We see this in both the commercial marketplace now more, but in the defense marketplace in particular with certain quality, cyber quality levels that you have to adhere to now. So this is not going away. It's only getting worse. And we at FloridaMakes have a great network of cybersecurity specialists that are at the ready to come and help you at any time, putting together your plan, evaluating where you are so you can secure your organization. The industrial Internet of Things. This is the connected world. This is all the sensors and different things that are taking information from all the different devices that you have connected in your plant. So it can be, CNC machines. It can be a lot of different pieces of equipment inside your facility and outside of your facility. One of the biggest things from here, and we'll talk about it going forward, is what do you do with all the data? Because IIoT solutions give you data. So then the question is, what are you going to do with all that data, and how are you going to make that data actionable for your organization? We have a couple of solution providers in our network now at FloridaMakes that use IIoT devices in a couple of different areas. So we have one solution provider that helps companies manage their inventory in their manufacturing facilities. And they use RFID technologies on the products to track the inventories through the facility. So you have real-time visibility into where all the different parts are in the plant. We'll talk about this a little bit later, but the other thing they provide is what's called a digital twin. And this is an electronic version of your manufacturing facility. So you can look at a phone or an iPad and you can see exactly where in your plant the materials are. We have another company who uses what we'll talk about in a minute called an edge device and sensors. And what they do is they attach this to your CNC machines and equipment, and they get real-time data off of your equipment and provide analytics associated with the performance of your products. And one of the more interesting ones that we've run across, I spent a lot of time on our Sterling Awards this year, and we have this great manufacturing company on the west coast of Florida that makes fire trucks. One of the things that they've done is they've taken their fire truck and turned it into one big IIoT device. So all the systems on a fire truck now feed data, and they know exactly what's going on with the performance of the fire truck. So you have a fire truck that's a big IIoT device. And that company also, as we talked about fostering innovation, they have come out with an electric fire truck. So not only IoT, but they've also moved into an innovation area where they have an electric fire truck available in the marketplace right now. So this is the connected world. This is getting information from all the different systems, both inside and outside of your organization. And again, it produces a lot of data. Cloud computing. Cloud computing has actually been around for 20 years or more. When I was with Oracle 20 years ago, there were a couple of executives that left the company to start an ERP system in the cloud. And everybody thought they were crazy. Who's going to buy an ERP system in the cloud? Well, fast forward 20 years, and you now have ERP systems in the cloud. That's the preferred delivery method for suppliers now. So again, this is one of those evolutionary technologies that I talked about. Again, this is the one where the in-memory computing really changed the game in cloud computing. It gave it so much more power. And we have cloud in our personal lives. We have cloud in our business lives. So cloud computing is the way that you're going to see, most of these solution providers giving you their delivery of their solutions now via the cloud. And as part of the cloud environment, there is something called edge computing. So for bigger manufacturing plants, they found that the amount of IIoT data they were getting to do real-time analytics on the machines was too great. Moving it to the cloud was just taking too much time to latency. So they've developed this architecture called edge computing, where there's an edge device actually on the shop floor where all the data comes to the edge device to do real-time analytics. And then the information is then moved up to the cloud where you do your longer-term trend analytics. Again, one of our solution providers that does machine analytics, they have an edge device they attach to the equipment, and they provide real-time analytics for their solution. So just another example of some of the solutions that we've been developing over the last many months. Big data and analytics. I always start this off by saying it's all relative. Big data is relative to your company size. What's big data to you may be small data to somebody else, and what's small data to somebody else is big data to you. So, but the point is, it's about the data. If you're going to get the value out of your Industry 4.0 solutions, they all generate a lot of data. So this is an area where you have to have a good strategy around how you're going to handle your data, whether it's large or small. And this is where you do the analytics. You hear a lot about artificial intelligence. Analytics was one of the first places they started using analytics or AI in the business world. And what again is one of these inflection points with the in-memory computing, because now all the data in the software and all the logic, all the algorithms are in the same place. And now this is where all the speed comes in. And this is why you've heard of artificial intelligence so much over the last couple of years. AI is real. I worked with an AI product many, many years ago. So this is, again, it's nothing new, but they're a lot smarter now with how they do the algorithms and the speed of the equipment. So this is where you're seeing AI become much more of a big tool in the big data and analytics area. Okay, vertical and horizontal system integration. This is a big area. So if you think about a manufacturing company, you may have a CAD system, and you may have a product lifecycle management system, and you may have a CRM system, and you may have an ERP system. And under the ERP system, you may have a manufacturing execution system, and you may have a maintenance management system. And then you got a warehouse management system, and you got a transportation management system, and you got a service management system. All these core systems that run your business. And sitting on top of that, and you got your analytical tools. So when you're looking at full digitalization, this is where you're putting together your digital strategy. How are you going to connect all these different devices in your organization to bring the value and visibility into all of the data that these systems accumulate? Because again, PLM is going to have data, CRM is going to have data, ERP is going to have data, warehouse management is going to have data. All these systems have data. Now, this is where you bring all the information together, both internally with your organization and externally with your suppliers and your customers. So this is a big area. It only is one line on the 9 elements, but this is where you need to have your digital transformation strategy, both for your company and also for your manufacturing facilities. So again, this is a very complex and deep area in Industry 4.0. All right, so now we're going to shift away from some of the foundational elements of Industry 4.0 and go into some of the manufacturing technologies. So I've been on a lot of Sterling calls this year, and one of the things I was really surprised about is how many companies in Florida are doing additive manufacturing and 3D printing. We ran across it in small companies. We ran across it in mid-sized companies. We ran across it in large companies. So there's a big additive manufacturing 3D printing marketplace already existing in Florida. For what we can see, it typically falls into 3 categories. So people use it from an R&D standpoint to develop prototypes. They use it in manufacturing to actually manufacture parts on 3D printing. And then they use it in the maintenance area. And I'll break that into 2 categories. They use it to build frames and fixtures in maintenance. And they also use it to print maintenance parts now. So instead of going to an equipment supplier and saying, I need part A or B or C, companies have both plastic 3D printers and metal 3D printers in their plants. And all they need is the engineer design document for the part, and they actually print those parts on demand in their plants. So that was kind of, I guess, a little surprising to me. But again, it's all over the state, small, big, large companies, 3 different areas, R&D, manufacturing, and also in the maintenance area. And again, this technology has evolved quite a bit over the years. In our Make More Summit coming up at the end of the month, we're going to have a piece on where the 3D printing marketplace is going also. Augmented reality. So this is different than virtual reality. Augmented reality is the intersection of the digital world with the real world. And you're seeing a number of companies embracing augmented reality, and they use it in a lot of different ways. So one way they use it is in the sales process. So say I'm a company and I'm selling a automation solution. I can actually go to a customer and show them what the automation solution looks like in their organization. So they use it from a sales standpoint. Another area that's very popular is from field service standpoint. So whether it's your own field service organization or if you're in a network, they're using augmented reality to problem solve in the field. So they have the device, they put it against the piece of equipment that they're trying to problem solve, and the service technician or somebody actually in the company can do this. And companies have engineers either at their home office or scattered around the country or world, and it can actually problem solve with real time from a field service standpoint. The next one that we're seeing quite a bit now is how are we going to deal with the aging workforce? So we're trying to attract new employees, new generation, but we also have the aging workforce. So one of the things they're using augmented reality now is to capture the tribal knowledge of operators in the plants. This has always been a challenge to be able to get this information in a place where it's accessible. So now they're videotaping the actual operations of a manufacturing piece of equipment with the operators. And now they're using augmented reality to train people. So they've got the knowledge now captured on video, and they're using augmented reality from a training standpoint. So if you've got somebody moving from a different department into this other department, they now are using augmented reality from a training standpoint. If you have new employees coming into the organization, they're using augmented reality to be able to train people. So this is an area that's been growing relatively rapidly over the last couple of years. And it's a very interesting area when you see what companies are doing. The ROI on these is very, very high. All right, autonomous robots. So one of the things that we've heard from a lot of companies now is they've come to the understanding that the chronic workforce shortage is not going to go away, and they're moving towards more and more automation. We have companies that we've talked to here in Florida that just can't find employees anymore, and they're, okay, we understand this. This is not going to go away. So we're going to automate now. Robots is one of the popular parts of automation. You have the first picture, which is basically a standalone robot doing welding. This is a issue in and of itself because people are having a hard time finding welders. So from a robotic welding standpoint, this is one of the more popular areas that people are looking at from a robotic standpoint. The picture below is what's called a cobot. And a cobot is a robot that interacts with a human. They have different use cases for these. Some of these are even smaller than the one you see. Some of them are just desktop. You see a number of cobots in the marketplace. The other one the other picture is autonomous vehicles. So what you're seeing now, and this is a big distribution facility, fulfillment center, such as an Amazon. So they have these autonomous vehicles that just zip through the plants, and they gather the information for the orders. In manufacturing, what you're seeing is at the end of a production line, instead of having a pallet moved by a forklift operator, they now have autonomous vehicles moving the pallet of products into the warehouse and storing it up in the shelf, or they're moving it directly to the shipping dock. So you're seeing a variety of different autonomous robots now being used in the marketplace, both the standalone ones, the cobots, and also these autonomous vehicles, robots that are moving into the manufacturing and distribution area. Okay, robotic process automation and intelligent automation, RPA and IA. RPA has been around for a number of years, and these are basically digital robots. So these are robots that do a lot of back office processing. So if you think about sending in a resume for a job and you upload it to a site, they use optical character recognition, and then they use the and then they use the RPA to populate the different fields and move it along in its process. A lot of the back office areas that you see here they automate AR, so you get electronic payments from your clients, and they automate the whole process of posting and reconciliation. From an AP standpoint, you get electronic invoices from your suppliers, and they automate the process of doing payables. They automate bank reconciliations. So a lot of these back office areas are done through robotic process automation now. I can tell you that this has been around for quite a long time. I did one of these many, many years ago where we automated a process, and basically you pushed a button and the whole process was done in the background with these digital robots. The evolution is now moving into more of the front office, where they're combining artificial intelligence and business process management with RPA to do more front office automation. So say from a budgeting and planning standpoint, if you're doing demand planning or sales forecasting, of digital robots to do the work for you now. If you're doing financial planning and analysis, they're going to have digital robots do the financial planning and analysis for you. And then you as the user review the information that the intelligent automation is giving you. From a manufacturing standpoint, you're seeing where they're using it to automate the procurement process. Once you've come up with your production schedule or demand plan, the robot's actually doing the purchasing for you. And then again, from a manufacturing standpoint, production planning and detailed scheduling, they're using the intelligent automation to do production planning and detailed scheduling. So from the back office to the front office, you're seeing these digital robots become more and more prevalent in the marketplace. Simulation. So this is an interesting area. Also, they all are interesting areas. The one on the bottom is called a digital twin, and basically they create a digital version of a piece of equipment, and with all of its operational characteristics. So in this example, if they're going to be putting a new compressor online to determine whether it's going to meet the requirements of the plant, they're going to build a digital twin, and they're going to run it through its paces to see if it performs in the way it's expected to perform. They also use this for problem solving. So you see digital twins used with augmented reality to problem solve. So this is an area that's been around for a few years, but you're seeing more and more places where it's being utilized. As I mentioned, we have one solution provider who uses a digital twin of the manufacturing plant. So when they sign a contract with you, you get a plant layout and they build the digital twin. And then through using these RFID tags, you can actually track the inventories through the facility. So, no more getting on the horn in a plant and saying, hey, Joe, where's the parts for order, blah, blah, blah. You can actually look at your phone and click it. You can see actually where all the parts are for that particular order. So one of the use cases for digital twins. The other one, the bigger picture, that's kind of an evolving area in simulation. For what they're doing is simulating plants now, full manufacturing facilities. So I saw one demo where, and I always forget the name of this thing. It's not the helicopter, but the little vehicle that flies around. You look at a picture and you see the whole site layout, and you see the plant in the middle. And then it dives down and it goes in one of the shop doors, and all of a sudden you're in the plant. It kind of flies over to the right, it goes and hovers over a manufacturing process, and you see the manufacturing process. It moves back over to the left, and so you can actually put these full manufacturing process with all the pieces of equipment into these simulations now. So they use these for a couple of different areas. One, if somebody's designing a new manufacturing facility or new distribution facility, they build these digital twins now to be able to see what the plant's going to look like from an operation standpoint. And you actually have the conveyors moving and everything, and you can see boxes going down and through the plants. So they're using that to, as a way of designing plants. Or warehouse facilities. The other thing is they're using it from problem solving standpoint. So, people are visual learners. So once they build the simulation of a plant, if we're going to say do a Kaizen event or some continuous improvement event, they can actually isolate in the plant where they're having the problem with the simulation, and then go through various scenarios to see which one is going to be the best one to solve their issue. We're all, a lot of us are visual learners, and we like to see things, in pictures. So now these simulations are being used for a variety of different areas, both from a design standpoint and a problem solving standpoint. One of the things that's happening now is some companies that are in the gaming area that build these high performance games are now moving into the manufacturing area, and they're building simulations for manufacturing, both in a product design standpoint and also in the manufacturing operation standpoint. So these are some of the kind of more advanced elements of Industry 4.0 that are not for everybody, but we're seeing more and more companies adopt these kind of technologies. So how do you engage with FloridaMakes? So we have a couple of assessments that we can do with you to understand where you are from your current state, because Industry 4.0 is a journey. It's not going to happen overnight. You got to have an understanding of where you are and where you want to go. So we have assessments to be able to determine where you are from an organization standpoint, where you are from a technology standpoint, to give you that current state feel. And that allows us now to help you develop the strategy for Industry 4.0 and the roadmap. So companies that have been successful in Industry 4.0 implementations have done the assessments. They've done their strategies. They have a plan. They just didn't jump into it. And again, this is a journey. So none of these technologies are going to be implemented overnight. So you need to have a sound strategy. A lot of the use cases of failed implementations in the past is people jumped into doing Industry 4.0. They didn't have a strategy, didn't have a plan, and then they wondered why the projects failed. So again, we're here to help you assess where you are and then help build a strategy for where you want to go from an Industry 4.0 standpoint. Now, that being said, you may have some current manufacturing or operational issues that you need to fix, like now. And we do have some solution providers that we've already vetted that we can help you with in providing a solution for you. So it's not that you don't need a strategy, but in case of something that you need to get done, relatively rapidly, we have solution providers that have provided these solutions to numbers of companies now, and we feel confident that they would be able to provide a solution for you if you've got an urgent need for one. So these are the ways of engaging with FloridaMakes around Industry 4.0. And you say, who am I going to engage with? So you can reach out to Beth or Paula. Paula is your local business advisor for BAMA. So if you've got a need for an assessment, a strategy, if you need something to help with in one of these technology areas, reach out to Paula and she can connect with me and we can see what we can do in helping you out with either the assessment, the strategy, or a solution that you may need right now. And then we also have our corporate team. So I'm part of the corporate team. I'm a business advisor at large. My boss is Mark Medor. He's our director of operations. All of the business advisors report into Mark. Mark is a Industry 4.0 adventurer. He was implementing Industry 4.0 in his manufacturing career years and years ago. So he's well known for his innovation from a technology standpoint. So here are some of our corporate resources to help you with where you are from an Industry 4.0 standpoint. And that's the end of my presentation. So we have some time for questions. There's a few things in chat. I'm not sure what's in there. Drone, that's right, drone. I always forget drone. I don't know why I do that. Is there anybody that have a question? I'll stop sharing, I guess, Beth. Is that the best way to do it?
It's up to you. That's good. Then we can
Okay.
see everyone and see if anyone has any questions.
Yep, you can throw them in the chat or raise your hand.
And Dave, can you describe, with those assessments, what would be entailed with the assessment that the company would go through?
Sure. So it depends on where you are. One of the assessments is to look at your organization and see if you're ready for Industry 4.0. So it's a more strategic analysis of where you are. It's similar but different to the Sterling assessments that we do and the enterprise assessments. So it's more geared toward Industry 4.0. And then we also have some more detailed technology assessments that we can do to really get into the strategy around digital transformation.
And I thought I heard someone speak up. Was it you, Roy?
Oh, I didn't say anything.
Okay. Did
It
someone-
was me, Kodan. So I
Okay.
was about to ask, what's typically the journey of an organization before adopting 4.0, right? So should they start with robotic process automation or generic digitization, or is that ERP or directly a simulation? How does it typically start, or how do we know where do I start?
Right. So the first place is to kind of do an assessment as to your current state so we can understand where you are. And then we build a roadmap based on your business needs. You know, what are your operational challenges? What are your customer challenges? What are your competitive challenges? It's important to put the foundation in place. Cybersecurity is one of the more important places to get started in this whole thing. And then, you know, based on your current state, then you build the roadmap of where you want to go from an implementation standpoint. And it is a journey. These things don't happen overnight. You know, as an example, you mentioned an ERP system. I mean, ERP system can take a year or two to implement based on the size of your organization. Some places may go faster, but typically it's going to be a year or two from the time you get ready to the time you get it running. So those are, again, that's part of the journey that you're looking at. And again, you may have a specific need. You may have a need, like you may be challenged in prototyping right now. So, okay, if you're challenged in prototyping, then you could look at an additive manufacturing solution to deal with that. So again, it's a kind of a balance of the long-term view of your roadmap and then dealing with some challenges that you may have from an operations, customer, or competitive standpoint.
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
The question down here. How do you judge the government's adoption of Industry 4.0, the outlook of their contractors using more? Could you clarify that, Clarissa, a little bit? I'm not exactly sure what the question is.
I wasn't
Sorry.
expecting to talk. Sorry, I didn't put my. Just from the standpoint of the pace at which government works and the pace at which they update their regulations, when you think about the Internet of Everything and more AI coming in for decision making, just curious as if you're seeing frustration or happiness or.
On the government's part?
Well, just the amount of companies that have government contracts, the amount of manufacturers that rely on the government and want to, you know, for their products and services and being able to do these type of things. Is the government keeping pace with?
Yeah, so if you're a defense contractor, CMMC level 3 certification on cyber is like a focus area that you have to be focused on. Because over the next couple of years, the DoD is going to be requiring CMMC level 3 certification for suppliers in their supply chain. So if you're not focused on cybersecurity now, that would be a good place to get started.
So you see them more as a champion of Industry 4.0.
Yeah, sure. So, you know, FloridaMakes is part of NIST, the National Institute of Science and Technology, and NIST gets their funding from the Department of Commerce. So this is a high priority for the Department of Commerce and also for NIST. So yeah, the government is definitely supporting the move to these smart manufacturing technologies. And, you know, we learned a lot from the COVID crisis too. So, you know, manufacturing, you know, suffered a lot during that period of time, and supply chains were stretched and they're still recovering now. So yeah, government has been very supportive of these, and really through NIST, and we're part of that network, part of the MEP network.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Hey, Dave, I'm Scott from Pinellas County Economic Development. And I just want to say thanks to BAMA for putting you guys on today. That's really great to hear the information. It kind of goes back to Carissa's point on the defense. Each company is probably going to have their own order in which they may go through these 9 portions. I mean, some
Right.
of the more advanced ones you talked about at the end of your presentation are probably down the road for a lot of people. But if you're a defense contractor, I'm with you. Everything I'm hearing is the CMMC is critical. I mean, and it's not easy. It's expensive. It's
No.
time consuming and everything else. But there again, if you're doing research and development, maybe you need the prototyping first. So there's no magic order necessarily, I guess, is my
Right.
question.
Right. Yeah, that's based on the assessment and what are your business strategies and challenges that you're trying to take care of. So yeah, it's going to be different for every company. Maybe a company implemented an ERP system 5 years ago. Okay, so do we have to look at an ERP system for them? No, they've already got it in place. Do we look at optimizing the ERP system? Possibly. They may not have implemented it the way they should have. So every company has a different journey. So we have a very extensive network of cybersecurity specialists on call now because of this. We spent a lot of time and money getting ready for this. CMC level 3, if I remember correctly, there's like 130 requirements that you have to pass. And, a lot of people think it's only the hardware and the software behind the scenes, but a lot of the requirements have to do with business practices. So to do cybersecurity right, it's a holistic view of your organization, your people, your processes, the technology that you use. So it's quite encompassing. A lot of companies are going through the first phase of assessment. Then they have, tell them basically where they are, right? From a cyber standpoint. Then you go into remediation, which is what's your corrective action plans to be able to improve where you are from a cyber standpoint to meet level 3. And then the third part is implementation. So you have to go into the implementation phase. The first part, the assessment, is not that expensive. We have good solution providers that do it at a reasonable cost. But then when you get into the remediation and implementation, that's where the money comes in. But I mean, we've heard stories already where companies are ahead of the curve and they got government contracts where other people didn't get it because they'd already gotten a certain level of certification. So it's a tough balance. It's both a business balance and a security balance for your company. Paula, you have a question? Paula raised her hand. How are we doing on time? Okay, we're doing pretty good. I guess Paula either won't take herself off mute or. All right. Any other questions at all? Thanks, Scott, for your question.
I guess maybe a follow-up to it is that, you have all these systems that people are using. So you have logistics, you have transportation, you've got a bunch of different things. How challenging is it to tie, because sometimes they're different, how do you make them all work together so that they talk together? Because I mean, look, I work for government and we just patchwork things and it's challenging, but I'm sure it's the same with manufacturing as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of the digital transformation strategy is you need to, take an assessment of where you are with your current systems and understand what you're getting from those current systems and then develop the integration plan for how you're going to connect everything. So everything flows, right? So that's part of the digital transformation strategy and integration strategy. And there are a lot of tools out there that allow people to integrate systems today. All right, great. I guess there are no more questions, Beth. So give everybody back 5 minutes if that's okay, or you may want to follow up and close everything out.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for taking the time, Dave, to present that today. It was very informative, great presentation. We
Thank
will
you.
have the recording and the presentation available if you would like. So we'll get that sent out to you. But I thank everyone for joining us today. And a special thank you to Carissa, who is our 60th business for our 60 for 60. So she signed up with her Key Insight Consulting. So we have our 60 companies for 60 years. So very exciting landmark that we just accomplished today. So thank you, Carissa. Thank you, everyone, again. Have a great afternoon. We hope to see you at our next webinar. And please reach out if you'd like more information on Industry 4.0. You can reach out to myself, Paula, or Dave directly. But thank you so much again for joining us.
Hey, Beth, one more thing before you sign off. Paula reminded me. We have some money available for CMC level 3 assessments. So if you're interested in getting the assessment, we have some funds that offset the cost of it. I forgot to mention that. I apologize. So sorry for interrupting.
No, thank you, Dave. Thank you for that. So please reach out to Dave or Paula if you're interested. But thank you again and have a good afternoon.
Thank you, everybody.